Welcome back to Exploring the Metaphysical with One Foundation. Today, we are focusing on the neural network cycle involving nucleus and axon sheaths folding and unfolding. I begin with a wiremesh object, labeled as the vascular network. At this stage it looks like a scaffold, an empty lattice. But as soon as I start applying parameters, the hidden dynamics emerge. The vascular frame is not just a container. It regulates how the nucleus, sheath, and axons begin to interact. That dense cluster forming at one end is the nucleus, and around it you can see the sheath adjusting, taking cues from the network that holds it. As parameters change, the vascular network flexes and redistributes. It doesn't simply bend, it coordinates. The axons align with the flow of the mesh, the sheath modulates its thickness, and the nucleus expands. This is the first signal that the vascular frame is more than structure. It is an active mediator of the interaction between conduction, insulation, and central regulation. Next, I begin coiling the entire object. The vascular network wraps in tighter cycles, stabilizing as the nucleus expands and the axons retime themselves. The sheath stretches and compresses in sync with these motions, showing a clear coupling, vascular adaptation, axonal dynamics, and nuclear modulation all adjusting together. By the end, what began as a raw wire mesh has transformed into a coherent solid form. The vascular network has coiled into cycles. The nucleus has expanded into a central driver, and the sheath and axons are locked into oscillatory patterns. What looked at first like independent pieces now behave as one responsive system. If this demonstration holds, it suggests the vascular network is not peripheral but central to stability and adaptation. It may govern how axons and sheaths respond to perturbations from the nucleus. If validated, this could reshape how we think about neural resilience, from isolated conduits to whole system regulation. And this is where the real implications begin. Imagine biological models that no longer separate vascular behavior from neural signaling, but instead treat them as one fabric. That could mean new explanations for why breakdowns in vascular systems so often precede or accelerate neurological decline. It could also mean new ways to simulate and predict neurodegenerative processes with higher fidelity, giving us earlier warning signs and better targets for intervention. Beyond medicine, the benefits could ripple outward. Neuromorphic engineering could take inspiration from these coupled dynamics, building hardware that doesn't just mimic spikes, but reproduces vascular-like regulation to keep systems stable under load. That could mean faster, more resilient computing architectures that adapt in real time instead of failing abruptly. In diagnostics, identifying mismatches between vascular modulation and axonal conduction could provide new biomarkers, subtle, systemic patterns detectable long before gross pathology sets in. And in therapeutics, if we could learn how to shift these systemic parameters safely, we might one day treat not by targeting single molecules but by nudging whole network equilibria back into balance. That's speculative, but it's the kind of door this work hints at if it stands up to testing. Of course, speculation is only useful if grounded. This remains a demonstration, promising, repeatable in its visual logic, but not yet verified. The real challenge is rigorous validation, independent replication, systematic mapping, and direct comparison with biological evidence. Only then can we say whether this vascular-driven regulation is more than a model artifact. If it does validate, though, the shift from the raw mesh to the coherent solid isn't just a visual journey. It's a reframing of how we understand neural systems, as a partnership of nucleus, sheath, axons, and vascular lattice, all co-regulating, all adapting. That vision opens possibilities from deeper science to smarter machines, from earlier diagnoses to entirely new therapeutic strategies. This is the hope, that the vascular network isn't simply support structure, but the hidden mediator of coherence. If proven true, it could be a key we've been overlooking, waiting for the right parameters to make it visible. Be sure to share and follow us for more exploration into shaping a new foundational breakthroughs.